This conference will now be recorded.
June 11th, Energy and Sustainability Committee meeting. Call meeting to order. First order of business is signing the documents, approval of the minutes. Tricia submitted the minutes. Hopefully you'll have a chance to review them. Any last minute changes from anybody?
No, I made the corrections that John and Joe
Good.
suggested.
Good.
So, I move we accept.
I second.
Motion.
Aye.
Opposed?
That's signatures.
Wasn't here.
Yeah, everybody was here.
You can hear us okay?
What's that?
You can hear us okay?
Yeah. Yep.
I might have to see if I can increase the volume on the sound. See if I know how to do that. Okay. All right. Let's go, let's see, is there any additions to the agenda? Anybody? Tricia, appreciate it. Appointments. So let's move on to the discussion and action items from the three subcommittees. I'm going to put the Belchertown Community Choice last because Chris is had a function with his daughter and he's going to get here as soon as she does her performance. So, so let's start off with transportation. Patricia and
Okay. So as far as the EV chargers, I have a list of 6 local EV chargers with various companies, various chargers that I can forward to Mike and Joanne. I don't see how we can find what the extra charge is on top, like if it's included or if it's separate without actually going and charging. Because it just says like 35 cents per kilowatt hour, or 30 cents per kilowatt hour. And I don't know, is there a service fee on top, which I assume there is, and I assume it's separate, especially talking to Bob. They said that most people add anything afterwards, but I can't tell from looking at the apps. I'm gonna have to go and charge and see what it is.
on our system once it gets put in. On our system once it gets put in.
We can put it in the service charge, either include it in our per kilowatt hour charge, or we can add it separate. It was recommended that we add it separate because the representative said that that's what most people do, is they have it separate. But I don't actually know that for a fact unless I go and actually charge and see what happens.
One of the things is that it's not, if you join their group, sometimes it's so much a month and then you get a discount on it. And so it's really hard to figure out what the rules and regs are.
And I think that's why it's mostly separate, because, are you a member? You're not a member. So they say per kilowatt charge, and I think it's just a charge, and whatever extra fees are going to be separate from that, I think. But I don't know for sure.
But that's nothing unusual from what anybody else is doing, right? I mean, it's just the way it is, right? Yeah. So.
But Mike wants to know, should we add that to our kilowatt charge? So when somebody goes to charge, they say, we're charging 37 cents per kilowatt hour. but we include the charge, but other people charge 35 cents separate, I'm thinking we should do it separate.
Let's do
Just so that
what's the
it's-
norm. It sounds
Right.
like the norm is separate.
Right.
All right, so, I mean, I guess the recommendation, should we vote as a committee for a recommendation, or?
I think we still, because it's not even installed yet,
Yeah.
we've got time to look at
Okay, all
that.
right.
And we go and look at these other local charging things and see what's going on.
I would say that if it doesn't come on until the end, as a person who's spent years as a consumer advocate, that's really not good. Because the people don't know, it's, so but if everybody's doing it, then you're kind of stuck doing it, but it's really not a legit way because it's not the true cost. But I think that there's so many variables that I don't think you can do it any other way, but.
Right. Yeah, I understand that, but the thing is, if we add it in, and so we're transparent, but our price is over everybody else's, then we won't charge, even if it turns out that it's the same, but we're advertising the higher price.
Yeah.
It won't help. Okay. So we, let's see, I sent a list of post-installation mass EVIP requirements to Steve and Mike. So what this is the things that we need to put for the installation, those things have already been addressed. So that shouldn't be an issue. What Mike and Steve wanted was things that the grant requires after it's been installed. So I have a list of 10 of those. I don't know if I have that list on me, but I can send it if anybody's interested. I do have it. Yes. It's things like the applicant must have evidence of ownership of the location. For each port installed, a parking space has to be designated as plug-in vehicle use only. So that goes along with the signage. And let's see, the EV charging station is designed to protect the station from damage. The car parking spaces must be maintained, including snow removal and general cleaning. You have to have directional signage. You have to operate and maintain the EV charging station for 3 full consecutive years after the date it's operational. And you have to collect the station usage data. Now, they don't say exactly what that usage data is, but you have to have something to show it's being used for 3 years after that. And there's a few other things. So I sent that list to Steve and Mike.
I think since it's going to be part of a town building or municipal building, all that will be kind of taken care of.
Yeah, the stuff with the actual parking spots,
The parking
like
spots,
the collecting the usage
maintenance,
data
snow
for 3
removal.
years.
Yeah.
It would be something specific to an EV charger,
Right.
making sure that we have that usage data.
I think that's for like say someone puts it up in a strip mall or something, and then that mall closes down and the thing's just sitting there and there's nobody, being
Taking care of
responsible
it,
for
right.
it. I think that's what those things probably are in there for.
Right, we just have to prove it because they could at any time ask for any of that information.
Yeah.
And we have to be able to say, yes, this is what we're doing and here's proof of that.
And when you say they, who is they?
Mass EVIP
It's
grant.
Mass EVIP.
The service from the pole to Finnerty House needs to be upgraded. And National Grid said they will do this for free. Mike verified that.
Right.
Mike is also trying to verify a date to get to pick up the equipment and to get the equipment installed. And he now has a pickup date. As far as we know, it's June 20th. So, and he's been in contact with Dan Shanahan from the equipment company and with Linda LeDuc. So everybody's on board with what truck is needed, how big of a truck is needed to go down and pick it up. But right now, June 20th is the date.
Wow, that's good.
So that's it for that. And then I wanted to email Rich, but I couldn't find your email address. So if you want to email it to me, But I wanted to know about the rail trail project in Belchertown, how it's going. I emailed Leanne Connolly to ask her about how the walk went, because it was a rail trail walk. And she said that it went well. And they are still waiting to hear about the Mass Trails grant application for the Trestle Bridge repair. Application regarding the grant application. Oh, okay. It's sort of loud in here. So I emailed Leanne Connell, and this is the Friends of Belchertown Greenway Committee, and they had a rail trail walk on June 7th. She said it went well, and she is still waiting to hear about the Mass Trails grant application for the Trestle Bridge repair. And as far as I can tell, the new rail trail newsletter that used to be emailed out, but Craig Della Penna stepped down, and it is now has a new name. I can't remember the new name of it, but as far as I can tell, it's only on Facebook, and it only discussed the recent iteration, only discussed progress in eastern Massachusetts. I didn't see anything locally. I emailed Whitney about the Massachusetts Bike and Pedestrian Advisory Board to see if there was any interest from the select board, if they knew anyone. They have not. She has not gotten back to me yet. I think that's it for the transportation. But I did get a email from the Green Energy Consumer Alliance, and they said, I pulled it up on my phone so I could read it to you. They are doing a postcard campaign, and they said that there are unregulated electric companies, the third-party electric suppliers, have overcharged customers across the state by $651 million since July of 2015. They're lying to consumers and targeting low-income and non-English speaking residents of the state, and they are working with climate and community groups to get these predatory companies banned. So what they want is help in sending out handwritten postcards to educate residents. So if you sign up to send postcards, they will send you postcards, instructions, stamps, and all they want you to do is fill out the card, put them in a mailbox. So if anybody's interested, let me know. I can forward this email to you. If you don't already belong to Green Consumer, if you do, then you should have been.
Could you forward it to me?
Yeah.
Postcard campaign.
It's for educating people regarding predatory third-party energy suppliers. They're getting people to switch, but they're overcharging. Yeah.
Vaguely remember seeing it, but I get there.
Yeah. This went out.
Today?
Yeah.
I didn't see it. Oh, I thought that was.
That's why I added on at the end here. I was just looking for, like, to see if people got back to me, and I saw it on me.
I would encourage, if you're not getting the Green Energy Consumer Alliance emails, if you're not on their mailing list, to contact them and go ahead and do that. They are the ones that are for the Belchertown Community Choice Program. They are the ones that are the supplier for all the renewable, it's the added renewable, above and beyond what the state ought requires. So they're the ones that are doing that supply, and they're also the ones that will provide since they're a nonprofit, when you buy your electricity supply extra renewable, to them, 10% or if you itemize your taxes, you can write that off, and because they're a nonprofit. So since they're a nonprofit, they qualify for a write-off. Since you're
So it's considered a donation?
I don't know actually how they get around that, but I don't think it would be a donation, but there must be some law or process where they can use that. Yeah.
It's a good group just for education. They have so many things on their site, webinars about
Electric
pumps and
cars,
electric
yeah,
cars
yeah.
and, yeah. And how to buy the electric cars, how to get, if you want to get a used electric car, they have all different resources for that. It's very useful.
Right. So, yeah, and they, again, they're based more out of Boston. They're Boston, Rhode Island. It's kind of the territory. Like Patricia said, they're a pretty good group. They're really involved in the state legislation as well. So they do a lot.
Okay, that's it for me.
Good, thanks. Been a busy gal. I had switched it around because I wasn't sure when you were coming in, so we're gonna have the outreach go next, and then we'll do our.
Great, thank you.
That'd be Ian, Todd, Joanne, and Reed. That's right, Reed. Thank you.
Oh,
I gotta get used to it.
right. Do you have anything to report, Reed, about your
Um,
article?
Yeah, so I haven't really done too much on it. I've been kind of thinking about it, looking into it. So, I mean, there's some farms that could be an option. I was also looking into the community garden in Belchertown. I think they're kind of like through a farm. I was thinking that might be an option. That's kind of something that anyone could get involved in. So it's a little bit more, getting people involved.
The article, the focus on the article is just go over that again.
So the focus, I think, is basically just businesses in Belchertown that are kind of doing things sustainably. Another thing I've been also thinking about, and I think I emailed Joanne about this a little bit too, is an idea of maybe it would make sense to have like a short article that's just kind of putting out a call to, are there businesses out there that want to be highlighted, and because we can kind of pick and choose, but we don't necessarily know everyone who's out there, and some practices are pretty subtle. Like if someone put in a heat pump or something, you don't necessarily know that. So I was wondering if it would make sense to lead with something like that to kind of just see what's out there.
I think that we could ask, and find out if we could put a little something on the Facebook page.
Okay.
And that might be. I could give it over to Carl Snyder.
Okay.
There's something on the Belchertown site too. But I think it was more on, I don't think it was focusing more on business. I know what it was. It was all about buying local, I think. It was buying local, but that might be some ideas in there to pick up if they mention some businesses that are doing that. And also, I used to know, but I forgot the name of the treaters down there on Old Springfield Road. You familiar with is it Northeast Treaters or?
Oh,
Yeah.
it's a different name now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do the lumber and the pressure treated, I believe.
Yes, yep.
I think they have a lot of their energy comes from their own solar.
Oh,
But just like, if that's what you're looking into, see what they're doing.
What was that called again?
It's they used to be called Northeast Treaters.
Yeah, it's not anymore. It begins with a C. I know that.
So Reed, did you want them to contact you? You were thinking about putting an article out to contact you? Is it like you'd put your,
That was one thing I was thinking about, and I don't know. I guess another thing I wanted to ask is, do we have like just like a generic email for our group to say, like, reach out to the Belchertown Energy and Sustainability Committee at this email, or do we not have anything like that?
do we have one?
we had one, and then in the new
All right,
system,
okay.
I think they have given us
See what they're
one.
called now.
So I will check on that.
Preservers.
I'll talk to, I'll get some more information and just check that it's working.
Because Todd, you were checking on that for a while.
It's
Especially
coming to Todd.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had anything in a long time.
Right.
You're saying this would be something different.
Yeah, it's a different The new system has a different set of,
Right. Now we have the communications department.
Yeah.
There's a lot of.
so I will check up on those,
Mm.
on some of those communications things.
And going along, crossing over, both you, Reed and Jacob. You know, make sure you cross over with Reed.
Yeah,
We'll talk
I'm
about
ho- yeah,
that further.
I'm
down.
hoping that we can, the three of us can get together sometime, sit down and go over what we've done.
I mean, even though you might not be, it's still, right?
Well, I'm gonna try to be an associate, so, yeah, so. Yeah, he's gonna have, yeah,
How are you with website technology?
Um,
You're
Like-
young, so.
yeah, yeah. I mean, hopefully, okay. I don't know exactly what kind of stuff they have. Or,
yeah,
It's pretty accessible.
yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
accessible, it hasn't been too hard to, once you, these things are a little stranger, than the old way, but, yeah, it's not that hard.
okay. And with all of that, is there like a process for, we get reviewed by someone from the town or before we like put anything on?
Okay.
No.
Once,
Well,
once we have access. Then.
I don't know, there is something about changes I've made, nobody has pre-approved them.
Mhm.
Oh, right.
But there is kind of this thing that sometimes comes up. So maybe that's a good question for us to ask, because at this point, we haven't had anything, nobody's questioned what we've put up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
We kind of put the whole webpage together without any
Yeah.
issue. So
and it,
or
yeah,
feedback or
prior to
anything.
this-
So
prior to the
Yeah, when
communications
that was put
committee,
together,
Was it different?
that was prior to.
prior to
Right.
communications.
but, yeah, we did. But since the changes we've made have never been held by anybody, but I guess potentially they could be, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because there is something in there that says,
I thought you checked on that, but again, then things are changing a little bit.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
That's it'd be a good thing to follow up on.
Yeah. we'll do that.
Good.
The only thing I have to add is, because I'm on different websites, everybody has different websites that they get information from and emails. One of the things that has come through my computer is that the new tax bill that's been approved by the House has a proposed tax on EV and hybrid cars. I don't know if you read that. So it'd be a yearly tax, I think in the realm of, I'm not certain, remember, like about 100 for a hybrid and about 250, I think, for EV.
Sorry. Where's that coming from?
That's going to be that's a federal tax.
So if you have hybrid or EV, why would you be taxed on that?
The idea is, right now, they take federal road money from the gas tax. And so since hybrids and EVs don't use gas, they want to, yep. So that's
Yeah,
how
I
they're
mean,
going to justify.
I figured at some point in time they would figure that out, that they weren't, because, obviously the cities, towns, the state, and the feds all need money, and they've always depended upon money from gasoline tax. So so as we've gotten more efficient over the last 30 years, the amount of gas we're buying, even though we have more people, we're not getting, and you have more cars, so there's more wear and tear, and so, yeah.
So you said it's 500 for EV and 250 for hybrid?
No, I think it's 250 for EV and 100 for hybrid.
That's annual.
Yeah, annual. And nobody seems to have said how they're gonna do it.
Now, are you just gonna get
Get a bill in the mail.
a bill in the mail
It's not gonna be
because
tied
you've
to
registered?
No,
Like
because,
with the registration. It's right now, the gas price.
Right.
Very more.
Well, the current system depends upon how much gas you buy.
Right.
So this depends just strictly on that since you're not buying gas. And they can't charge you for your electrical charge because they don't know how much is going really. So. The other thing that came through is the cost of AI. That every time if you use AI, there is a cost in terms of the energy that it uses. So it uses so much energy so that it's causing, the need for more electrical sources. Particularly, that's why they're looking into nuclear again. And, I think that you don't realize, like every time if you Google comes up with a whole set of stuff that says AI generated. So every time you search, it's costing more than when you search without AI. So there's more energy.
How are you going to track that?
Nobody has said anything about it. I think nobody really wants to know that this process costs because people don't think of it as a cost. I think when you do a regular search, obviously there's some energy usage, but this is just extremely more.
That could be a good future sustainability tip. Yeah. Just letting people know that it's not just searching, it's actually having an impact.
Yeah. And I think that, a lot of times people are probably going to use AI, let's say, to write an article. So if you're using that, you are using extra energy that you would use that down and wrote the article yourself. Especially if you did it with a pen and pencil.
Now, when I Google something, a lot of times, I'll get that you don't use AI. That mistake, because I don't use it like generally.
Yeah, I did not see any place when I was Googling. Well, maybe you're using a different search engine too.
Mine automatically brings up an AI ready.
Yeah,
Right.
I think with
Google
Google
Is
it's
there a way to
automatic.
switch that off? Because I
I
often
don't
wonder.
think there is. I looked into it a little while ago.
There is.
There's not, I don't
Oh,
think.
there's not?
There is a search engine that we could actually highlight in this called Ecosia, I think it's called.
Mhm.
That they're kind of a nonprofit and they plant trees with the revenue that they get. I think they're not as precise as Google, so that's kind of a downside. But if it's something really simple that you're Googling, that might be something.
Yeah, because
It's
now
interesting
when
that
you
you can't turn it off.
right, well, what happens too is you get a long stream of whatever information about it, and then down below you see the sources and everything. But you don't know if they've picked the right sources or the sources that you're looking for. So when you get that, it's and that's kind of one of the downsides that you can think about.
I'm doing more and more about the whole electrification thing. And these AI servers, they're huge with the warehouses, and they take a huge amount of electricity. And right, so you're saying we're looking for ways to power those up without really taxing the grid. All the, I think I read it, was all the benefit from renewables have been kind of gobbled up by the warehouse. Yeah.
I've seen kind of a similar where all the new things coming online are just being, we're not decreasing our usage, we're increasing usage. So they're talking about bringing coal plants back online and adding nuclear because we have the baseline. But I think to your point, I don't have the numbers, but talking to some of the folks in my company, because we're building our own models for AI models for analysis, and they said that the real cost is in the training of the model. So creating ChatGPT or whatever it is, that takes a ton of energy. And then actually using it does require more power probably than Google search, but it's not astronomical. So I think it's kind of like a electric car causes more damage than a gas car, like that discussion. it'd be good to get our head around how much actual usage,
Right.
using it versus creating it, and how does that compare to
Yeah,
other-
if I had seen, and I didn't write it down at the time, I will look in and see, and I'll send an email out if I find out
Yeah.
what it was. I think they did it comparing it to, like a plastic bottle or something like that. They were able to make it something visual. But I think that we don't realize that all that costs. Think about it in a day, how many times you Google something that you maybe don't really need to Google because you don't bother to just, let's say you have somebody's address, but you don't really know it, you don't know the zip code. And then you Google the zip code. Well, if I had actually just opened up my phone, it would come to me, or went to a piece of paper where I have the address on. We're so used to being able to get these things, and we don't think of it as costing anything.
There's also a fresh water usage to cool all
Yeah.
these server racks, so that's another
Yeah.
water usage is another
Yeah.
important piece of this.
And anything else, Todd?
I think I don't really have an update.
Okay,
You done? Yeah. Very
Yep.
good.
and we'll get together before the next couple of weeks.
Good.
Figure a time.
We can do a Zoom meeting or something.
We're going to talk a little bit more. All right, so Chris and I will go over the Belchertown Community Energy Choice. I don't really have a lot of updates. There was some messages going between Kate and Nadu, communications and good energy around monthly reporting. It sounds like I'm going to start getting the monthly reporting now. I sent you the,
I have. Do you want to talk about the numbers?
yeah, talk about the numbers. But I think we should get together with Kate and just be on the same page about. She wants to put something up. She said we use some FaceTime. She actually said, you have the May data. She was looking for the May data, maybe something that shows the growth in 2025. I haven't heard any feedback around town, which is good. At least not any negative feedback, which is why I thought they could use some FaceTime. So, we have our couple things going on about some of these communications we want to put out. And of course, the tote board we've been talking about, we got to get together and just go over that once I start moving around and once you get settled down. So,
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we got the data. The program has been live since June of last year. So we have the data through March. Looking for the, I guess, April and May. But I think the kind of the good news is that the number of participants in the program has remained relatively constant. 4,328 participants in the beginning last year. We have 4,300 total. So that's probably just fluctuations in people coming and going from town. Might be a few people leaving the program to do a third party. But it's also interesting to see most people stayed on the standard, which is I think what we. So originally it was 4,073 had left it at standard, and as of March we still had 3,886. So most people keeping that standard option, which is more renewable energy. We did see originally 219 people opted out or opted for the lower rate and no additional renewable. That's up to 353. So we did have some people going up, but we also had 36 people opted into the 100% renewable. That's now up to 61. So to put a positive spin on that, we've nearly doubled the number of people.
Yeah, 100% gain.
Yeah, it's almost 100% gain in
Don't play with numbers like that.
opting up. But you can see that it's still, only 61 out of, 4,000 or 300. So I think there's a lot of work to do there to get, more opportunity there for people to opt up. But I think the good news is that, many people are still in the standard program, which is 10% more renewable, and they're saving a little bit of money as well. So we want to figure out how to sort of put this into a message we can then, put on a signboard or post on social media.
Right. I mean, now that we can track the monthly data, so I think in that string of emails there was talk about this house from Good Energy consultant. Wants to get there with Kate in a couple of weeks, I think. But we should,
June, July, I think she said.
yeah. So we should, get in on that, and it'd be good to finally connect and pull that together. The one thing I need to talk to Kate about, I tried a couple of times but haven't gotten an answer, is, that thing for the real estate, she put the town seal on it. She was hesitant about using the town seal for a couple of reasons. One is because it might be changing, which it isn't. The town seal will still be the town seal for official business,
The logos.
but the logo's not.
Yeah.
Yep.
So now that that's kind of clear, I think she was thinking that this wasn't, a town program, so it really should have the official seal on anything we put out. And I think it also gives it a little more weight on the validity of it. So I want to make sure she's okay with that before I get this out.
Okay.
And I just haven't done that.
All right, great.
And again, I don't know if she's ever posted that other one that was supposed to go on the Facebook page. So I'm leaving tomorrow to go to DC for 10 days or so. But when we get back, I'll contact you.
Perfect.
And then I'll contact Kate. Maybe I can get an email to her while I'm down there, and let her know what we're doing, and then get him on that whole phone call.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be around till mid-July. So
You'll be on to mid-July? Okay. And then you're going to be,
I'll be out for a week, but then I'll be back.
okay, so
Yeah.
when we still open right now, like the beginning of July?
Now until the beginning of July.
Now till the beginning of July, mid-July.
July 12th we leave.
Okay. All right, so July. Well, then I'll be back. June, so maybe, last week of June? Okay. Or first week of July. Shoot for the last week of June with her. Anything else? We should get together actually before that and talk about the ideas around the tote board and how to do that, whether to do it digitally. I don't know if we can physically come up with something. I did go online and see, you could actually buy, I think I showed the group that thing with the thermometer. You can actually buy something like that.
Yeah.
And have it, it'd be easy to do, but it's, where we're gonna put it, who's gonna manage it and all that stuff, so.
Yeah, we'll figure out how to set the goal because we're not going to get 100%.
Right.
And if it's sitting at, 5%.
Yeah,
it's
that's
like,
probably,
so,
yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't do percentage of, but,
Maybe it's
Total.
100 more households or something. We set
right,
a
yeah,
goal.
so you can, a goal of 200, or would that be 5%?
Yeah.
We'll get creative with the,
Well, I haven't used that term in a long time. Engineering stuff to move back. Good, so, yeah, I won't be back till, till like the 23rd, actually, I got something going at the house those first couple of days back, so probably be the end of that. For us to get together,
Yeah.
and then we'll start something. Okay.
sounds good.
Good. What else? Anything else?
Nope.
Good. What's next? Okay. Now the big news. Reappointments and committee membership. It's kind of a bittersweet in that, 4 of our founding members have left the committee, 3 now, right, with, and, right?
Right.
And Jacob.
And Mike, leave one off.
Well, Mike is an associate,
Right.
and Mike went up to that, so, but right, he's a founding too, and, we all should be proud because that really kept all the background things for this committee to be successful. I think the town, music committee is, really rising to the occasion, so I really appreciate it. Proud to hear about how this committee's evolved and what we've done over the last 3-4 years. Let's see, when did we start? 2000?
2020 was our first
2020
meeting
was our first?
via
Yeah.
Zoom,
Yeah.
and then I think our first full
Right,
official
we
meeting
already
was
had one for
January.
3 years, and then we had another.
Yeah, so I think it technically started
Yeah,
then in January of 2021.
Good. And who's might be coming back as associate members?
I might
You might?
Yeah.
Okay. You have to apply for that.
Yep.
You have to
send a letter to the select board.
And you did see that I did submit the.
Yeah, I saw you emailed back, yeah.
And I had seen the Sentinel, they reposted the forum. Last week we talked about whether it was 7 members or 9. We decided it was 9. So we down 4. And I don't know about the Sentinel. I was on last week. Last week, so I haven't followed up with the paper. Did anybody see any of those postings in there?
I didn't check
I
the
didn't
last time I
see it,
looked. No.
yeah.
Usually under the vacancies, they have it,
Yeah.
so I'll check. I'll check with that and see, I can check with the town too to see when that's coming. They might be waiting until after.
Right, because technically we are gone.
Right. Technically, right.
Joanne, were you going to apply for associate member?
Yeah, 2 and 5.
What else, man? You're gonna just attend as a member of the public?
Say that again, please. I have trouble hearing.
You're gonna be continuing to attend as a member of the public rather than as an associate, right? That's what you chose?
I don't care. I'm just interested, and I'd like to help, but I don't. I don't have anything against being an associate member or a member. It's not important to me, that part of it. I just want to.
Let's put it this way, when the vacancy comes up in the Sentinel, you can decide what you want to do and go from there,
Okay.
Good. All right. So, as far as crossovers go and kind of how to restage these committees, we're probably okay with 2, where it's really going to be hurting, right? Unless, but again, everybody must have joined the Belchertown Community Choice. Feel free to bring that up. But where it's obviously really going to be shorthanded is on the public outreach and education. It's not fair to have Reed, be the only guy standing right there. So I'm toying with the idea of joining that outreach part. And because I always have a lot of these ideas rumbling around, as you know, Joanne, on different things for articles, and we talk a lot. So unless
I would be able to help out with that probably.
yeah,
Whatever,
Yeah, it doesn't-
works best.
Okay.
I mean, what other subcommittees need filling?
How you feel about the transportation side, Patricia, for support and help? Mike is going to stay on, right?
Right, Mike is staying on.
And-
And as far as the EV charging project, just like know so much about that and like this through it. We need to know about that area.
Okay.
And if we want to do something else with transportation, then we definitely welcome that for that.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And then again, hopefully, when the new members come on, we can start positioning them as needed, but let's see where, how many applicants come in once it's posted. And actually, the next topic kind of addresses this as well. Does anybody else have anything to say about the appointments or the committee membership? Any other ideas or anything that I might have left out?
No, I think it's a good idea to maybe wait until
Yeah.
we do have new members
Right.
and then split up the responsibilities.
And summers can be kind of tough to have
Yeah.
meetings. Actually, I was going to ask, I'll ask it now. I'm planning on having the July meeting in August, but someone did ask me, if our committee is going to have meetings through the summer. I'm okay with having meetings through the summer. Is everybody else feeling good about that? Or? All right, so we'll still try and schedule them. Let's see. So if 1, 2, 3, 4, there'll really just be 4 of us, right? Once after June 30th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? 5. So good. So we'll need 3 for a quorum. I'm just trying to figure out how much.
Yeah,
we need
yeah.
for a quorum. So as long as we can get 3 in July and August, we'll shoot to have the meeting. Actually, I thought of another thing to bring up. Reappointments for the committee themselves, as far as chair, vice chair, and clerk. We need to talk about who's going to do those roles. If anybody wants to volunteer for chair, let me know. New people, it's a little too early, so you were chair already. I don't have a problem being chair again, so unless you want to. Okay. All right. So I'll stay on as acting chair if everybody's okay with that. Do we have anybody that wants to be vice chair? Vice chair, just basically, if I'm unavailable, they have to run the meeting, just setting this up, put out the agenda, that kind of thing. And if I'm not going to be available, I can certainly put out the agenda and take care of all that and just not run the meeting. So, not be physically here to run the meeting.
I never had to do it.
Yeah. Want to be vice chair? Oh, good. That'd be great. And then clerk, Patricia's done a great job, and Kathy did a nice job on
The one time.
they did the meeting. What's the general feeling from the committee on? Do we have any volunteers for clerk, or Patricia, you want to continue on, or
I think if no one wants to do it, if it stay on as acting chair until we get new members.
down as what?
As, or not.
I was gonna say
As acting clerk.
okay, because
No. As acting clerk until.
okay. Yeah.
I'll think about it. Is it basically just taking minutes and
And then sending them out.
sending them out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can refer to that handbook.
Print them out or you?
Yeah, I printed it and then.
Because with the time I did it, I just sent it to John.
Right, yeah.
So-
All you gotta do is either fold it and put it in the mailbox outside here,
Mhm.
and just right click on it and it goes to them. Yeah, or run it up there, or I put it.
We've
I
been
put it-
signing, but she said.
I'll think, yeah.
I put my last name in the envelope because I saw that there was another set of minutes I hadn't turned in, so I had to, so I just put an envelope and stuck them in the box, so. Different choices. But they do want hard copies.
So you're gonna stay on as acting chair until. the-
Yeah, unless somebody says they want. Again, I don't think it's fair to ask Kathy or Reed to do it. You were already chair once. You'll be, if you're vice chair, you'll probably be chair next year, so it's the way it is. Anything else on the reappointments or committee membership? I think we'll get there, and like I said, the founding members really did a great job of setting a good base for everything. So it's just really important that you guys cross over with Reed,
Mhm.
and I should send me when you guys are going to get together or any communications along those lines. And if you can wait until I'm back on the 23rd, I mean, I think you guys should start crossing over anyway, but you know.
But you can't really be part of it because then that's 4 people and then you've got a quorum.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
So we'll keep in touch.
Okay. Okay.
What if it's after the 30th? and you are
Oh,
no
yeah,
longer-
so we probably should connect by before then, when we-
Before.
I'll be out the 19th to the 25th, but other than that, I should be around.
I'm out from 14th to the, yeah. We'll figure that.
Yeah.
We'll sit
It's like
down
a
and
hot
find a
dog from the
time.
clinic.
Late 20th. maybe.
We might be doing it on the 30th.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We just cross over and then, you know, I think it's mostly around managing the website, you know, those kinds of things. The articles and stuff will you know, help and as you write it, and we all review it
Yeah.
and I'll talk about it. But, you know, we can start putting on the list of potential articles here. There was some good ideas that came up even in this meeting, so there'll be plenty to do. Anything else on that? Well, it's a good segue into potential projects and process. I did meet with Doug Albertson. It was earlier this week. And I just wanted to go over, you know, what we're doing with this and how the committee's changing and what we were, you know, how we initially thought of taking projects on each one of these, but we realized that that's a lot of projects. So I wanted to get a read from him. He didn't mention anything specific on this, but we were talking more about how to get projects not necessarily approved, but like in front of the select board and that kind of thing. And some of the points that came out of that meeting was as we go through this or as projects come up that we might want to get involved in, there's the 2 constraints I think right now are, you know, how much is it going to cost the town? That's the big one right now, obviously with the budget. And the second one is how much is it going to tax other departments and committees? You know, a couple times I got the message from Steve that that his departments are pretty well full up, and so we have to be very cognizant about how much, if we bring something in front of them, how much support we're going to need. So I think once we get kind of regrouped, we'll talk about what projects can come along. What he did, one of the ideas that came out of that is, it doesn't have to be necessarily that involves going through other town committees and departments. We can actually maybe take a look at things not affiliated, like as you said, like other businesses. So that was a really good idea, saying, what are other businesses doing? And work with, people outside of the town politic. That might be a good approach. The other thing, and again, it goes right along with the outreach and education, is a lot of things on here, we can take things out of here and do like how-tos on, how to look into a heat, buying a heat pump, and what are the incentives, and what's the payoff, what's the value, what's the rebates, that kind of thing. So any of these how-to ideas to get out information into the town would be, I think, good things that isn't taxing, using those other constraints that we have to be aware of. Well, I think a lot of it's going to be on outreach, and I think, like you said, we'll all be doing parts of that. It doesn't necessarily have to be a set subcommittee, so I think that'll work out good. Let me see. Let's see what else. The Pioneer Valley Planning Commission, they're doing, there's some resources there for, they're trying to hire that, I sent that out too. They're trying to hire the energy manager for a regional area, not for any one particular town, but he'll be like the regional Pioneer Valley. So once he comes on, it'll be a good resource for us to use. And of course, there's all the other things that are going on with like the green communities and those kinds of things. So the way I left it with Doug was, something comes across his desk that we can get involved in. He'll let us know on that. And when we do have a project that's going to have some weight to it, we'll just need to go in front of the select board, if it's going to require things like cost, obviously, or heavy involvement from other departments, to go in front of the select board with a proposal on what that project might be. Any ideas or questions on that?
Do we have any like visibility or anything over kind of what the town spends money on, so that we kind of could know, like, get ideas for how to make things more efficient and save them money while also doing things more sustainably?
That was actually one of the things I started looking into as an example. I was looking at the solar canopy project, and I wanted to find out, like how much energy,
Like how much they spend on electricity?
Energy, what the fuel bills are, how much what the savings are, because I was going to, my next step was to go and get a couple quotes or ball rolling through other installers, and same thing with the schools and things like that. And I was kind of told that to not get involved in that right yet, and that it's not a project that the
Having
town's going to
talked
go ahead with.
to Doug, a lot of the things that you initially would say, oh, why don't they have solar panels on the school, or why don't they have this, or why don't they have that? A lot of them have been discussed, and
That's what Steve Wayne was saying.
yeah, I mean, the roofs on the school, most of the schools are not able to hold solar panels.
Okay.
So that's one of the big things you have to cross out. there were other things, like they have taken advantage of, they have redone, I think, almost all the electricity in the schools for having, LEDs and all that, taken advantage of the grants. I think they've been very, very good in the town about taking care of grants. I know that there's some things that they missed out way back when you could get a, basically an almost free electric car. That was kind of like, oh, how would we even more about something like that. So, but I think they are much more alert now into looking at these grants. I'd say one of the ways that we could do something is to have somebody kind of nose around and find out what grants are available. And, are we taking advantage of all of them? And that would probably be but I would think that most of the time they do have it. I think if you kind of look at, one of the things we could do is look at, and Mike has done that, is to look at other towns and see what they've been able to do, because they maybe took advantage of a grant that we didn't even know existed, because at the time it wasn't anything that we could do, or, they were working on other things.
We have a grants person now.
Right, so that, and maybe it would be good for some people to talk to the grant person.
Because one thing I was wondering about too is if, do we know like how much does the town spend on like paying someone to mow, public spaces, or on, various like landscaping kind of things? Because that might be one area where you could say, okay, if you take this grass strip that no one's using, replace it with some, shrubs, native shrubs or something like that, then you cut down, maybe that saves them money, and it's less fossil fuels being used to mow it and less fertilizers.
The only thing I can think of is in the annual town report.
Okay.
There is that whole budget in there. I don't think it's that quite itemized, but if you get your hands on that and take a look at it, I'll see if I can find it. I'm not sure if it must be available online.
The report, in fact, that you're saying, go up online. And
Yeah, I thought they said they've only got printed so many,
right.
and yeah.
So they said, if you want a copy, go on.
Could you get more detailed reports, say, from the DPW, about things like the cost of maintaining open space, snow
Yeah.
removal
Yeah.
and all that, maybe? Won't
But
be
I
in the town report, but it
think
might be in there.
Steve is trying to point out is that we can't go running to them about, well, now, how much are you spending on the mowing versus if we went to
Right.
wildflowers with it? I think he's feeling that if we request a lot of information, that it's another thing on their plate. I think
Yeah. Or departments might feel like we're bossing them around
Yeah.
or we're overseeing them.
Maybe a better way to approach it is to offer, we could be a resource if there's
Yeah.
anything that they're thinking about, like, man, we really spend a ton on, gas for the mowers, or our electric bills in the schools are really high. We could potentially help, consult or figure out, hey, this is what a solar project might look like.
Yeah.
These are the grants that are available,
I think
We could
that's
be
a
a middle
good
person.
approach.
Yeah.
Go to them and say, are there things you would like us to look into for you?
Mhm.
Go to like the DPW and say,
Linda at DPW was pretty passionate about switching to electric cars at one point. That was the discussion.
Mm.
So there was something there. And then also, I think just publicizing, like, you can get trees, logs dropped off, they do yard work and they have to cut down.
Yeah, there's a
trees.
chip drop.
Yeah, chips and.
They
and
just
whole
dump a bunch
logs.
of free wood chips.
So like things like that, we could also maybe help out and publicize some of those things. so that they
right. Like our neighbor gets all the trees that are cut down goes up to his house because he keeps the wood.
Right.
Yeah.
Some of them are this big.
Oh, they're even bigger than that.
Yeah,
There was a
well,
couple of them.
I got a load like that back.
Yeah.
Chris was coming down with this big saw on me, and he was thinking you'd take some slabs off of that, but yeah, they dropped off. Some of it was like really big. I only did that once.
So, with the schools too, I mean, maybe there's a way that we can help efficiency or as they're, I know, with the recent vote, there's a budget crunch. They're going to have to deal with it. I know they're working on it for next year's budget already. So, how can we help? How can we figure out how to save better insulation or things like upfront investment in, switching heat pumps or something might pay off and reduce operating costs and those sorts of grants and things that can help with that. So.
Yeah, I guess if you say like, is there anything that you'd like to look into but just don't have the time, and then we can do that.
And then
And then there's a ton of resources that you're saying here, Valley.
that's a good way to say it.
Yeah.
And UMass Extension.
UMass Extension's another one, yeah. Yep. Yeah. Thanks for that discussion, clarifying that, because yeah, that was, of course, when I was asking these questions, it was right when the whole budget stuff was starting to roll, and this was 3-4 months ago, maybe more now. And basically it was, we were going to be so busy with that. Basically, it was like, as you said, we got our hands full as enough, so don't. So maybe now that this is over, I think we're in a really good spot right now because that's over. The committee's going to start getting kind of reorganized, and yeah, it'll be like starting a new group. Good discussion. Anything else on that? So, and I have been in touch with Whitney, our select board liaison, but that, I'm not sure if she's, I'm not sure if she's going to stay on as that. So we're going to have, another select board liaison as well, or not. I don't know. Well, they'll all be next meeting. I think we'll have a better picture of all that. And there was another one. I sent out that MOU, and I didn't want to write out the whole thing, so you guys had to look at to see what MOU stood for. It's Memorandum of Understanding between the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission and the town of Belchertown. So there was a bunch of discussion via emails going through, which I was involved in, and it was deferred to the Department of Public Works and the Buildings and Grounds if they wanted to participate in any of this. There was, again, it was a resource that was available, and they wanted to know what part we needed on that. And what they said was they felt that they had everything that they needed for what they were being asked. But there was that next heading down there. It was for the regional clean energy planning and project support. And I asked that get checked off and that this committee would be willing to work with them on that particular thing. And I'll just read this quickly, just to bring you to reminder of the speed. Check this box if you would be interested in having your community participate in a pilot regional heat pump coaching program for residents. Pioneer Valley Planning Commission would host a website platform where residents can get information about heat pumps and sign up for coaching services. PVPC would also coordinate getting training for coaches and partner with community-based organizations for outreach. So I thought that fit pretty good with this group, and I asked that this be checked. And so our grant writer actually signed off on that, Allison Bonby. I think she is our grant writer person, which I had. That's the first time I was had any kind of contact with her. So that'll be a good project to get involved in. And somebody asked a question about what that involved, and the answer back, and that was basically it's just going to be, they just needed someone or a group to kind of be assigned to that. Assuming, this is what Mimi Kaplan from the PVPC said, assuming that the DOER, Department of Energy Resources, funds this project, there shouldn't be much effort required from the town. The main thing would likely be to publicize it on the website and on the Facebook, et cetera. So it would go on our page, it would go probably through Kate on the town page. That was the point of piloting a regional project, so each town doesn't have to do it on their own. So it's not going to be a lot, but we're plugged into that now. So let's see if there's a way to turn lights on here. Does anybody know how to turn the lights on in here? Rich, can you see us? Pretty good through there, or are we
I think it's over there.
No, I can hardly see anything.
It's getting pretty dark.
Yeah, I know.
There's a switch over there?
Oh,
Oh, there's people there.
Yeah.
You got the touch. Oh, yeah, it's a little bit better. I'm watching it getting darker and darker. Thank you. We're almost done. Right. All right, so Allison Bondy, B-O-N-B-I-E, is our apparently the grant writer. She was the one that signed off on this. So she'll be someone that will, some of these ideas that we're talking about, it's available and that kind of thing. Anything else on projects, or that was a good discussion? Okay. And finally, let's talk about the trash gala. I sent that out. Joanne, you said you couldn't make it. I can't make it. We don't have to be there. We were asked to be there. It is the trash gala. I'll read what was, I think this is on Facebook. Trash gala is a celebration of the 3 freshly painted transfer station container murals. The trash gala is a community-wide event to dedicate the new murals, honor the artist, and acknowledge the contributions of all participants. Trash gala features sustainability-themed activities for all ages and features a trash fashion contest. I'm not going to dress up for that. That's going to go. I could wear my trashiest clothes, I guess I have. It's working today. Get in the spirit, come in wearable art and upcycled materials, show off and win prizes. The contest grand prize is a transfer station permit. That's $100 right there, only $10. Other prizes include transfer station bags, visit the swap shop for inspiration and materials. So that is Friday, June 13th, from 4 to 6. And we were asked if we wanted to attend in any way. I don't think having a booth there is appropriate, but you could have our sign up or something like that. But if nobody can make it, that's understandable. I just want to bring that to see if there's anybody that is interested in. So I'll get back to Molly. Molly Robbins from the Cultural Council. Yeah. Okay. I'll say it possibly. Do you need any materials? I mean, yeah, you want to do that? Because what I could do is if you needed anything, we can either have we got the Belchertown energy and sustainability lawn signs now. We could put one of those up just to have. Why don't I put that in my shed barn? You know where that is. I'll put you're not going to use the banner. No, you're not going to have the booth. No, yeah. So if you wanted to take one of those lawn signs down, if you decide to go, I'll put some in the shed barn. You're not gonna get a table or anything like that. We've got that. I don't think it's that kind of thing.
Is it in the contract?
Is at the transfer station, yeah. Let me make sure about it. June 13th from 4 to 6. Rain date is Saturday, June 14th. So it's Friday, June 13th. It's at the Belchertown transfer station. Yep. Yep. Good. So I'll put that in the bar. You need that stuff. You're not gonna do like any handouts, right?
Yeah, I could just bring some questions about the interview.
Take two of the signs, take them off the metal.
Where the sign-
Yeah, oh, there you go, yeah.
Where? You might get a couple of bags.
Yeah.
I tried to.
Good for you. I'll put whatever materials I have printed up, put a bunch of printed stuff.
I have the yard sign. Just wanted to.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Oh, is it the energy choice one, or is it the energy, or our committee one? You need a committee.
I don't know. The energy choice, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think.
Oh, one on the other.
Yeah.
Opt out. Yeah.
I'll go now.
I'll put it all in there. You can pick and choose what you want. Feel free just to go in and I'll have it from a little tractor there. On top of it. You'll see it. Good. What else? Again, members that are going out, thank you so much. Your time and effort. You did an awesome job. You should be very proud. I am. Tear up my eye. Because, yeah, we've gone through a lot. We took this from, let's see what we can do with this committee, and here we are. Appreciate everything. All right. That said, there's nothing else. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
A second?
Then a second.
Motion to adjourn in a second. Any other discussion? Oh, sorry. Thank you. Very good. Next meeting is July 17th. Question. Rich, anything else from on your end?
Oh, just
Okay.
thank you to everyone, especially the people that are going off. And I know there's a lot that's been done, a lot accomplished. So I appreciate it.
Good, thank you. Good to hear. Okay.
Regarding the next meeting, because there's the 5 members here that will be there. I know I can't make it. Can
Oh,
anyone
good
else
question.
make it?
Yeah, is there anybody else that can't make it?
I mean, at this time, I don't think I have a conflict. I don't have anything on my calendar. I did check.
I will be out of town.
You can call in? Call in or?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
I should be there.
good. And I should be there. It's getting pretty close to my birthday. My 70th birthday
Oh,
is on the 21st, and I got a bunch of people coming in.
oh,
My kids are coming in from DC, from Rochester area, and Japan. So, but I think that's sometime around the 22nd and on. So I should be here for that, but I will let you know otherwise. So, good. All right, there's a motion and a second to adjourn. Any more discussion? Thank you for bringing that up, Patricia, about the next meeting. Thanks, skip that. So, no more discussion. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Meeting is closed. Thank you so much. Thank you.